Hey guys, so all week we've been talking about roses and the pruning that we have been doing to the roses as far as the shrub roses, and then we did the climbing roses. So we have another rose we're going to talk about. Angie is joining us here today. She's back there holding the camera equipment. But one of the roses we do want to talk about is Strawberry Hill, because she is in a Obelisk, and we definitely want to do that rose and show you guys how to prune that one. It's similar to a climbing rose. The only difference though is we're going to treat it kind of like a shrub rose as well, because we want to keep those canes and shoots kind of close to the Obelisk. I'm going to turn the camera here so you guys can see that. So as you can see, there's a lot of growth on Strawberry Hill. Absolutely looking beautiful. She's put on more foliage than any of the other roses, only because she gets more sun up here. But I want to go ahead and prune that one and show you guys how we're going to do this rose to maintain it a little bit better and kind of redo some of the canes there around the Obelisk.
She does have a lot of damage.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage on here that we're going to have to take care of. A lot of broken ones as well. So
yeah.
You want to help me move these?
Yeah, I think we should move that out of the way. That's a little dangerous looking there.
Yeah, I know the camera's a little close here, guys, but we're trying to maneuver around here because we are on the top of the steps, and it's a little difficult to get up here.
We're a very, very deep slope.
So I want to move these containers real quick so it's not completely in the way. You can put it right here.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that way,
It's not in your way?
Nope, don't. It'll keep the tripod from falling down the steps, hopefully.
So there's a lot of wind on this area. It's a very windy area here, and the obelisk kind of pushed forward. Is there something we can do about it, or do we just leave it alone for now?
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to pull it back some, and maybe put something underneath the actual pot, because right now it's leaning a bit forward. So it's making everything look like it's falling towards the front, which the obelisk is a little bit crooked here, but we're going to go ahead and pull it back a little bit as well to make sure that it kind of stays in place. And you know, the toughest part about that is Strawberry Hill is not as thorny as most of our roses, but it has enough thorns where all the foliage kind of distracts you from actually seeing what you're looking at, and you might touch it by accident and really grab yourself pretty good.
You need gloves there.
So yeah, we're going to go ahead and put some gloves on for this one, because again,
has she grown though?
Yeah, she definitely has grown. Angie's off side of the camera here, just in case you guys are hearing her voice and wondering where she's at.
I'll be shutting off my mic, guys, and I'm just gonna make sure that he doesn't fall down the hill. No way am I going to go up there. I'm scared of heights. So
all right, so some of this stuff you guys might not hear me talk. I may cut a little bit to skip ahead, because I'm gonna go ahead and try to fix this one up the best I can before we get started. All right, so I was gonna fix the rose here and try to fix the planter here and the obelisk, but I'm gonna go ahead and hold off on that because I think it's gonna be easier to prune it now, since it's already kind of out of the way from the wall. It gives me some room to work with it a little bit. And so before we actually get pruning, I did want to show you guys this. I'm feeling a little bit spoiled today. These are some Bergen and Ball secateurs, and they're distributed by Corona Tools. So an awesome set of pruners. This is my first time using them. So I'm pretty excited about these. Again, these are distributed by Corona Tools, and this is actually Bergen and Ball is a company in the UK. It's one of the longest gardening tool companies over in the UK. So it's pretty awesome that they're bringing this over to the States here, and again, distributed by Corona Tools. And to go with that as well, we have a couple other tools from Bergen and Ball that we're going to show off later on. Angie's probably going to do a video on some of the things they sent us that are pretty awesome that we're going to be using in the garden this year a lot. So stay tuned for those videos there. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is, just like any other roses, we're gonna work on the dead, damage, anything that looks diseased, and a lot of the crossing branches. What that's gonna do is that's gonna eliminate a lot of what's going on here, because a lot of it's crossing, a lot of it's damaged just from rubbing up and down on this thing. And then we got some diseased stuff, or not really diseased, I would say more broken branches that need to go as well. All right, so one of the ones that I pruned here, as you can see some of that stuff on there, it's not looking pretty good. It's kind of unsightly, and it's very thin as well. So you can consider that damage or even possibly disease. It's got a little bit of black spot here. This is one of the ones I left at the bottom and started to train to wrap around the obelisk, but it really didn't do much. So that's a good a good way to kind of determine what you're going to prune out. If it's something that you planned on having wrap around that obelisk and it's just not taking too well, or it's not growing, or it's not thickening up, just get rid of it. There's no reason for it to be there. God,
What?
it's so hard to get the pieces that I'm pruning out, like, because they just don't want to go. All right, so same thing with one of these. This was growing right down the center there. As you can see, it was coming off of that. It's kind of dead wood there, but the rest of it looked pretty healthy. But again, if you're seeing something like this at the base of the rose, just go ahead and take that off as well. Okay, so we've got rid of most of the dead, damaged, or any diseased-looking branches here. The one thing that's a bit difficult with working on a rose that's in a obelisk like this is that when it comes to the crossing branches, it's that they're pretty much all going to be crossing because of the way you're training it up to here. The main thing you want to look for is really any branches that are crossing that are really causing major damage, kind of like a callus on the end of the rose. And I know I went out of frame there for a minute, but you can see like certain areas, like you start seeing calluses on the branches here because they're rubbing up against each other. That's something you really want to take a look at and, you know, kind of decide whether do you want to get rid of that or not. So I'm gonna take this one off here because this one was actually wrapped around there. You can see all the little buildup right there is kind of like a callus on the branch there. See on that side right there, it looks like it's been kind of dug into. That's from another branch just doing this constantly in the wind and just being up here in the obelisk. So that's something you really want to look into, whether you do want to prune that off or not, because, you know, when it comes to be pruning a lot of this stuff off from a rose on an obelisk, you start to see how much it's going to open up, and then you start to wonder, did I take too much off? But it's really no worry there because you got a lot of main canes. Now the next thing that comes when pruning a rose on an obelisk is now you start to look at all these side shoots. For instance, this is a cane that's coming all the way from the bottom. It's got a whole bunch of side shoots, which I really do want to keep because I want this rose to be full around this whole obelisk. So what you want to do is grab these side shoots, and you're going to look for 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 buds at the most, and you just want to prune it down about a ½ inch above that bud. That way you don't damage that bud, but you also have a good amount of growth there. And then you just want to go around and do that. And once you have a nice shape, then you're going to start to tie it back up to the obelisk to get that nice round form. Now, when it comes to something like this is kind of where you have to decide which one you want and which one you don't want, because they both have some good growth. I'm going to go ahead and take off the thinner one, which is kind of weird because the thinner one has more growth. Oof. Don't really want to do that, but that's pretty.
I know. I was like,
It's pretty bad looking. Like all.
it'll grow more. The more you cut, the more you.
Look at all that. How
It'll spread out new growth.
how much spotting that has.
Oh man.
Yeah. Like this one right here too.
It helps.
It's a lot of pruning we're doing here.
I know. I don't even want to look.
Okay, so hopefully you can see that a little bit better there. I'm trying to get out of the way of the camera. But we did as much pruning as we needed to on this strawberry hill here, that it looks a little bit more cleaner. Still has a lot of foliage, but now I can start working with wrapping it back around the way I want to, without the worry of anything crossing and really damaging it, because now I'm free to move these inside here, and if I need to prune anything off that's going to be affecting it, I can prune that in the process of tying it back up. But again, guys, it's a quick and easy video. Same with all the other roses. It doesn't have to be something that's very difficult or very intimidating to do when it comes to pruning roses. Just follow all the steps that we've been giving you guys, and it's going to be that easy. I think the fear is pruning something back so hard that you're going to hurt it, damage it, or you're not going to get the same results that you're used to seeing as far as the blooms and the amount of foliage and just the beauty of the rose altogether. I think that's one of the biggest fears, and that's one of the fears I definitely had when I started pruning roses and deadheading roses was, am I going to get the same results that I had this year? Am I going to get the same blooms the same size, the same beauty, the scent, everything that comes along with the roses. It's a big fear of not having that. But I guarantee you, they're gonna grow. Roses are very tough. They will grow out of nothing. Again, it's just a quick and easy way to prune these roses. And before I go, I did want to answer a few questions that we received while I was doing this rose. We got a couple questions on Instagram and on YouTube. Which ones were they? On Facebook.
Okay.
All right, so Angie's looking for those questions. She's gonna go ahead and read them off. She's off camera again.
Okay, so this is on Facebook. We have a group on there. So this is from Miss Sherry. Sherry. I watch Ambrose's pruning tips and I have a question. I've received several bare root roses. Once in a while, some of the branches are crossing. Should I cut them or leave them until they mature? Okay,
so with bare root roses are gonna come to you pretty tough because they're already gonna have been growing for a while. And you're gonna see some of those canes fairly thick. But the thing about those bare root roses is you still want to get them in the ground or in a container if you choose to do so, and let those mature a little bit before you actually start doing any hard pruning. And when I say mature, I'm talking about let it go that first year. You're gonna see some of those crossing branches. You're gonna see some of the stuff that you normally would abide by when I talk about pruning, is, you know, getting rid of the crossing stuff. You really don't want to mess with that stuff. Just let it do its thing at least for that first year, and then that second year you're gonna have a good amount of growth.
The roots.
Yeah. So you want those roots, Angie was reminding me, you want those roots to actually, you know, settle in, you know, grab all that nutrients and build a good immune system. That way, if you start doing some hard pruning, it's not going to get affected as much. But you want those roses to really start, you know, taking a hold in the ground or in a container and start building a good immune system before you start doing some good pruning. So I would give it at least that season to grow, and then next year you can do that heavy pruning, the dead, the damage, the disease, or anything crossing.
So what I'm seeing a lot right now is everybody's very sad because they've missed out opportunity on some of the roses. They're not available no more on the David Austin website.
Yes.
A lot of times what we say is we purchase them really early.
Yeah, so I think with that being said, because we get a lot of those questions is, where do we find these David Austin roses? The biggest thing is you gotta be able to understand the process in which these roses are grown. They start to put these on their website fairly early, so a good time to order these would be around September, October, if they're available on their website. Sometimes even earlier than that. And
you can do pre-orders sometimes, I think.
There's sometimes you can do pre-orders not through David Austin as well, but you can go to other websites that sell roses, and a lot of time they get some of those roses from David Austin where they buy wholesale and bring those to the nurseries. Another good tip I can give you is one thing that I like to do, and what me and Angie used to do when we were in North Carolina, is actually go to the nurseries and
local nursery.
Get to know the people at the local nurseries, especially if they sell some David Austin roses. Get to know those people and talk to them about what you're looking for, and more often than not, you're gonna find that they're gonna want to help you the best that they can, and they'll sometimes put an order in for something you're specifically looking for. Or in our case, we actually we had our phone number listed down, so whenever they got their David Austin roses in, they actually called us and let us know, hey, we're about to put these out. You guys want to come over and take a look at that? But that's one of the best things you can do. Sometimes it does take a drive. We've driven, about an hour or so to find a rose that we wanted to. We found out through someone that they had some roses at a Lowe's at one point, and we actually drove to a Lowe's about an hour and a half away to get what we were looking for.
Yep.
All right, so just put everything back, just cleaned up the spot that I was at. I'll turn the camera here real quick and show you guys what Strawberry Hill looks like. And there she is right there. Looks a little bit better. I know it kind of looks scraggly, but that's because we still have a lot of other maintenance to do right now. What we're going around doing is pruning. We'll do some other videos as far as what we do to prep these roses for the season. That one still needs to get tied around the Obelisk, and maybe I'll do a video on that one to show you guys what it looks like once I'm done tying it around. But in the meantime, I've got to do some digging and figure out how I'm going to fix that container so it's not leaning as much from the angle you guys saw on the camera there. So we're going to go ahead and head back over to the back and take our stuff. Angie is, again, helping me.
Yeah, he's using me.
She said I'm making her carry all the heavy stuff and all the hard stuff. But trying to hold the camera here. It's getting nice and windy here.
Hold on right here.
All right, so
Okay, I almost got smacked with all the rose cuttings. That wouldn't have been good.
we had to pause there for a minute.
The wind.
The wind just picked up out of nowhere. But that was pretty much it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. We tried to answer a couple questions there because that was something that just came out while we were actually doing the video. So hope that definitely helps anybody that has some of the similar questions. I know it's not a tough question, not a crazy question, but maybe we'll sit down and do another video, rose questions. If anybody has questions about roses, definitely let us know. Put it down in the comments, and we'll try to put a video together like that, because we're still going to be doing a lot of maintenance here with the roses, like I said.
There's still a lot to do.
Yeah.
It's still cold. We're still expecting freezing temperatures, so we're trying to hold off on some stuff, but there's still a lot of stuff to do. So.
Yep. So.
It's good though.
Yeah. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We still got a couple more things to do, like I said. So that's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.